So a new tape has just come out, and it's from 2001, but it's very interesting because it goes to Prime Minister Netanyahu's intentions. He was speaking to a group of terror victims, and he was talking about how you can get America to do what you want if you're the state of Israel, and how you can thwart the peace process. Let me give you exact quotes. Here's what he told them. He said, "I know what America is. America is a thing you can move very easily. Move it in the right direction. They won't get in their way." Now remember, Netanyahu used to be prime minister before, and then others came in, and now he's prime minister again. So he's bragging here, America, so easy to move them, not a big deal. So some people say that if you say that Israel controls a lot of American foreign policy, that is somehow a thing you're not allowed to say, that's unacceptable, that's somehow anti-Israeli. Some have even said absurdly anti-Semitic. But is Netanyahu anti-Semitic? He's here saying, yeah. No, I move them very easily. It's no problem. We get America to do whatever we want. And he goes on to talk about the peace deal. Remember Oslo Accords? Now, what everybody said was, well, at the end there, after a lot of negotiations for a lot of years, in 2000, Bill Clinton brought Ehud Barak and the leader of the PLO, Yasser Arafat, together. And everybody said, well, Arafat walked away. Now, actually, Foreign Minister of Israel later wrote that that wasn't true. He said it was fairly one-sided in our direction. If I was the Palestinians, I wouldn't have taken the deal. Now, there are other people who say the opposite. So it's not a clear-cut issue, right? But it turns out for Netanyahu, it is fairly clear-cut. Listen to what he said back in 2001. He said, "They asked me before the election if I'd honor the Oslo Accords. I said I would, but I'm going to interpret the accords in such a way that would allow me to put an end to this galloping forward to the 67 borders. How did we do it? Nobody said what defined military zones were. Defined military zones are security zones. As far as I'm concerned, the entire Jordan Valley is a defined military zone. Go argue." Wow. Okay. If you're not well versed in this, and it's not your job to be, I understand. So let me break it down for you. He's saying, of course I said I would follow the Oslo Accords if I was elected prime minister, but the devil's in the details. And so when they say, will you, go to the 67 borders? No. He says that's galloping. That's the borders of the West Bank and Gaza Strip. Was laid down after the 1967 war. Now, Israel does not like those borders. They want to take more of the West Bank, right? So Netanyahu doesn't want to go to the 67 borders. That's why he continues, when he's in office, to add more and more settlements, to take more and more land from the West Bank, because he has no interest in the 67 borders, as he clearly states. And then he says, well, how am I going to get around the problem that I said that I would agree to these? No problem. I just say, what's your definition of a military zone and a security zone? I think the entire Jordan Valley is mine because it's a security zone. And hence, of course, the Palestinians won't agree to that, and we'll get no deal. This is him not only bragging that he can push America around easily, but then furthermore saying how he's basically against the Oslo Accords and peace agreements, and how he would actively scuttle them. See, this is what we tell you all the time. This isn't about being pro-Israel or anti-Israel. This guy is pro-war. He's anti-peace. He tells you here he doesn't want the peace deal. He didn't want it then. He's not going to want it now. Why? Because he keeps getting reelected when there's war. It's his own personal interest. Now, here in the U.S., you're not allowed to say it that much because that gets you in a lot of trouble. You know that Ayman Mohyeldin, the NBC news reporter, got removed from the Gaza Strip. Now, thank God, he's been put back in, right? Because they got a lot of pressure from Glenn Greenwald and other folks, right? But they removed him partly because of complaints that he showed too much sympathy for the victims of the war. Isn't that amazing, right? But in Israel, there's actually a broader range of opinion that's allowed, more than there is here in the U.S. So Gideon Levy wrote for Haaretz, and he's a left-leaning columnist. Yes, there's left-wing Israelis. Yes, there are Israelis who want peace, who love peace, and who fight against people like Netanyahu. And he explains after watching the video, he said this video should have been banned for broadcast of minors. He said this video should have been shown in every home in Israel, then sent to Washington and Ramallah. Banned for viewing by children so as not to corrupt them, and distributed around the country and the world so that everyone will know who leads the government of Israel. He's telling you right there, Netanyahu isn't good for Israel. He's never going to make peace. He openly brags about it. So this war in Gaza isn't an accident. It's exactly what Netanyahu wants. It keeps him in political power. We're sick of the right-wingers here in the U.S. who drive us into more and more wars. And if you had any sense at all, if you lived in Israel, you'd be sick of the wars that the right-wingers there drive you into. Understand that that's their agenda and always has been.